What's good, guys? Welcome to the channel. Today I got a bit of a special video for you. Normally it's me talking and yapping, but now I got my good mate Ishaan. Say hi to Ishaan. He'll be joining us for the very first podcast on my channel. So guys, the topic. Alright, so we're talking about the gym, yeah?
Yep, so we're going to talk about different perspectives on the gym, what got us into the gym, some tips and advice, and just some general fun things to talk about regarding the gym. So it's going to be a fun conversation.
Yeah, boy, let's get it. So let's start off by talking about our origin story. So how I got into it, how you got into it. I think you got into it way before I did.
Yeah.
So explain your story. How'd you get into this?
So it kind of started in year 8 S&C. So I was a part of this Radford First 11 cricket team. And I pretty much had some S&C sessions. So most of the kids were a bit older than me, at least a year or two older than me. But I decided to go attend the S&C sessions. And there was a trainer there that gave us advice on how to, navigate the gym, because it was quite a new setting for both of us.
And that was my first time too in the gym, was like the S&C from school, which was good because it's like, I reckon the first time, if it's your first time in a commercial gym, like you're seeing these big roid head guys, like scary as hell. I think it's a good experience to get that. But how was it like? Were the exercises like normal gym stuff, or was it more like different cricket stuff?
With her, it was like there was a lot of back squatting, there was dumbbell benching, like there was actually fun activities and exercises that I actually do in my program today, which a lot of sessions, a lot of S&C stuff, you normally do some like vertical jumping, you normally do more athletic programmed exercises, which I don't really enjoy, but I think doing those sessions was very invaluable for me because I was able to learn the skills and the technique required for the gym. And originally when I was in the gym, like I wanted to get stronger because I felt like my cricket was lacking in that element. Like I wanted to hit some big sixes and I just didn't have the power like my other mates because I grew up kind of skinny. So I think just getting around that environment really helped.
Yeah.
And
bro, this paused.
No, it's... and then it transitioned into me going and getting a membership. Now, I didn't think I would enjoy it. In all honesty, I thought it'd be a chore and I'd just go get it done.
Yeah, right.
But you gradually, when you surround yourself with the culture of the gym, you watch all these videos, these fitness influencers, you copy their workouts, you get a pump. The pump, the first time you get a pump.
Is the best thing about going to the gym, especially when like, a lot of people say like, if you're like a skinny guy getting into the gym, it's not as like, it's a bit more demoralizing because you can't lift heavier weights. But the perk of being skinnier is your pump looks 10 times better. You see the veins and all that. But you said that the gym culture was like part of what got you
100%,
to keep consistent.
Yeah.
Explain that. Explain what your culture was.
You pretty much, it's all over TikTok, it's all over Instagram, it's all over YouTube, and it's like, hard style music. People posting their physiques regardless of how they looked, and then people promoting gym tips, how to get 6-pack abs in 10 minutes, like all those things you do because you want to look better. And when you start the gym, you realize that like you're not the biggest guy there. That's something I had to realize very early on. Like I was skinny, I was bullied for being skinny growing up, so you kind of know that you're not there, but the only thing the gym is going to provide you with is benefits. It's not going to push you down. The only way me going into the gym is going to improve my state of life. I'm going to be able to hit more sixes. I'm going to have more power. I'm going to look better. I'm going to feel more confident. And that's 100% what happens when you go into the gym. So I 100% recommend it.
I think we'll touch on this a bit later on.
Yeah.
But you see with the gym, like as Ishaan said, there are like a lot of perks. I think like there's not many things that can go wrong beside either injury or the body dysmorphia, which we'll probably talk about a bit later. Yeah. About the dysmorphia stuff. And I've got a pretty cool injury story as well. But before we talk about that, you were talking about something. I kind of cut you off there, but you were saying
the culture, or
I think
it's also the expectation that you set in the gym early on. You can't think of yourself as the biggest guy. You're there to learn and you're there to get better. You got to have that positive mindset. And you can't just go into a session on day one and expect results. Like, that's just not going to happen. But the thing that you will get early on is if you do train hard, you'll get a pump. And that pump will show you the potential that you have to get bigger. 100%. And I think if you're consistent with it, you can gain a lot out of it. But the thing is with the gym, when you first start, you know newbie gains? The theory, like in the first few months, you make the most gains you ever will in your gym journey. That's really good. That's a huge positive because that drives you forward. But once you hit year 2, year 3, you'll notice your gains slow down a little bit. And that's when like the theory of diet and really locking in a really good basis of a diet, because that's the fundamentals to getting big. It's not just working out, but it's also having your diet in check. And I think having a good diet will help you in all areas of life.
See, I talk to like a lot of guys about the gym. I'm not like a big gym expert, but like, you know, I have some friends who are trying to get into it like I did. And a lot of what they ask me is, how do I stay consistent? How do I sort of like, you know, keep going even when you don't want to? But for me, it's like, I always enjoyed going to the gym. I never had to like push myself to go there. Like, I always liked the fact that like I could wear a wife beater and look big. Like, I just kind of like that. The whole, like, it didn't hurt that much either. Cause I always skip legs, but like basically, I want to ask you, like, has there been a time or like a long period of time in your gym journey, I guess, where you didn't like, you hated going to the gym or you didn't like it, but you had to push through? Because I think for a lot of things with life, you sort of can push through and soldier on, but it's not going to be like, you know, consistent, and it's not going to be like sustainable when you hate it so much. So if you have any tips to like try to find the enjoyness from the gym rather than just, you know, David Goggins like being like super like hard style, but like you're not really enjoying it. So how do you enjoy it?
I have 2 ways of going about this. Now, before I touch on those, I just want to say, like, I do enjoy the gym a lot. Like, for me, I've never had to have that drive and motivation to go. It's like something I just enjoy. Even something I feel guilty by, because I feel like it's that enjoyable that I'm missing out on all the other things I should be working on, like schoolwork.
If I could like schoolwork the way I like going to the gym, I'd be an astronaut. I'd be a Branson.
Yeah, that would be, for real. But there have been times where I've struggled. Like, I feel like it's just when I'm not feeling good. I might be sleep deprived. I don't have energy. And then it's like, when I don't have energy, when I'm sleep deprived, when I've been having a bad diet, all those external factors that make you feel like shit, those things kind of weigh down on you. And then you're like, oh, you have that expectation to have a good workout. And if you're low in energy and you have a shit workout, you feel really guilty because you feel like you haven't pushed yourself to where you need to achieve progress. Now, the way I'd go about it, either way. So there's one way, like, you enjoy the gym, but you're struggling the way I did. But then there's the other thing where you just don't enjoy going to the gym at all. Right, so the way I'd tackle both situations is make it part of your routine.
Right.
Not necessarily you enjoy waking up, brushing your teeth, but you do it anyway, right?
That's actually really good advice, yeah.
You do it anyway, like it's part of your routine, like you have to do it. Similarly, the gym is something you have to do. Well, if you want to get to the next part, unless you got an injury or something, I recommend everyone go to the gym. Doesn't mean you have to lift heavy weights. You can just do cardio. You can do whatever you enjoy, Pilates, whatever it is, whatever makes you feel better. Because I guarantee you, whether you like it or not, the feeling after you've worked out,
100%.
That is,
and I think
it's unexplainable. You can't even explain how good it is. It's insane.
Ishaan had a good point just now. I want to like expand on it more. But it's the idea of like, you know, you'll open up TikTok or Instagram and see like all these weird workouts where like you can do like Pilates or CrossFit or HIIT, or like you can train a certain way. And I think the best answer to the question, what's the optimal way to train, is just the thing that you feel like doing. Because you could scientifically optimize everything, including diet, sleep, all of that. But if you can't stick consistently to it, it's not going to give you any gains. And I think being consistent in something that's 75% good is a million times more effective than like being the most, I don't know, efficient routine by doing it for a week and then burning out. So if it, like, and this applies to school, gym, anything really, even like starting a business, you don't like don't obsess about the most optimal strategy, the META, the meta. Just think about if you would already be like, if you were already jacked, what fitness routine would you do? That's probably the one that you can be most consistent on. Obviously, you gotta then do some things to be effective and efficient, but even school related things, guys, like, you need to do what you can do most consistently, because that consistency pays off in the long term. So I guess, but that's a really good point there, but do what you feel like doing, but do it consistently. Now, we were talking about something?
I think in terms of like, I was saying how I felt guilty about going to the gym. The reason is because I don't enjoy schoolwork, and sometimes I skip schoolwork and go to the gym, and then I don't enjoy my gym session because I feel guilty. Now, the solution to that is just get the hard stuff done first.
Yeah.
Get the schoolwork done. Get your, I don't know, your 1 to 3 hours a day. Whatever you're doing, maybe 8 hours. Whatever you're studying, find a way through it. Like, get that study done, and then go do what you enjoy at the end of the day. It might not be gym, it could be like watching a movie or something, but get the hard stuff done first. And you can really enjoy whatever you enjoy later.
That's really good. I think also like a lot of guys who probably like will see this video in a couple of months or years or like whatever, they're probably gonna be in that position where they've heard about the gym and they want to get into the gym, but they're kind of unsure on like how to start going to the gym, or even like, because I think for me a big thing was, but like when I first started going to the gym, I had this friend and I went with him, and like that helped me with the transition from like being a gym like complete beginner to being someone who knew about the gym. But for some people who haven't got that like not father, but like, you know, like someone else to help you into that space, how would you go about like the anxiety about being the smallest guy in the gym, and like you're feeling a bit insecure when you don't know what to do and everyone else around you? Like on my first ever session in the gym, I was in the lat pull down machine doing tricep push downs, because I didn't know the actual, like I didn't know what the machine was for, right? And that was like embarrassing. People were they're like looking at me funny. So if you could have any advice to someone who is a bit insecure and anxious about going to the gym starting off, how would you instruct them to get through that?
I think the way you look at it is, it's a new thing for you, like anything else in life. You start a new sport, you do a new subject, you do whatever, you're always going to be in the learning curve. You're always going to be a complete beginner, and you got to acknowledge that. I think that's the most important thing. Acknowledge that you're in that area, and don't be scared to ask for help. I think you'll be surprised how much people really don't care in a way. Like, you think people are looking at you, they really aren't. Like, people are actually more encouraging that you're actually there in the gym putting in the work, because they were there at one point.
That's true, isn't it?
The greatest players, they've all been in the learning curve at some point.
Yeah.
So no one who's actually successful is going to judge you. People bringing you down are probably the people that aren't in the gym.
Me and Ishaan always talk about this, but like hate always comes from below.
Yeah.
Like if you're trying to go somewhere, like even this content stuff, yeah, like I don't think anyone else who's successful on content will like look at us too and like, oh, that's cringe. It's only going to be the people who aren't doing it below you who then hate upwards. So a big thing is, yeah, try and like soldier on against that, like I guess feeling a bit insecure. And I think for me, the easiest thing I could do to overcome that was to go with somebody else, because then it's kind of like you have like some support there. But I know that's not always a possibility, and you may not have that friend. So I would say you just got to do it for like a week, and after that you kind of learn, and you always learn more about it. So it's like, I guess in the first week you kind of be scared. You can sit in the corner and do like Bulgarian split squats all like I don't know, your whole session, you know, just to be like not seen, right? But even then, even though that's not a good thing for the gym, that's not that bad, because you're still doing like something productive, and like it'll get better over time. So I'd say the hardest part about all of that is struggling with that to stay consistent. But if you can find a way to stay consistent, your I guess your anxiety and stuff will actually will decrease. Because I'd say for me with other things as well, it's not like your anxiety and stuff decreases first and then you make progress, but you make progress first, and then because of that progress you see your anxiety decrease. So for anyone expecting to cure the anxiety before they start going to the gym, don't expect that. You'll still be a bit nervous and stuff, even when you've made gains, because you could always make more gains, right? So the best way, even school, even being scared of tests or stuff, the easiest and most effective way to beat that anxiety and stress is to make the progress first, and then you'll see the anxiety go away. But again, that's a bit hard to do, so I guess the action step is just do it, which is kind of unsexy, but that's the only way I think you can overcome that. Now, what you were saying something, right?
I think a big thing that helped me to know what I was doing is research. We are so fortunate in this day and age to have technology and to be able to research anything. Even ChatGPT is out there. You can find anything on ChatGPT. You can ask it any question, it'll let you know. You can make a workout program from that. For me personally, before I started going to the gym, I watched a lot of gym videos, workouts, this, that. And then pretty much what I did is I just experimented. You see all these workouts on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. You just want to try different things. You want to try different exercises, see what works for you, and then format a split that actually works for you and what you need to get done, your weak points, but also what you enjoy. I think enjoyment can be taken away a lot of the time, and I think it's very underrated. You need to be able to succeed in something. I think you have to enjoy it to some degree at least.
100%, yes. Because otherwise, you're not going to be as consistent as a guy who enjoys it.
We're not perfect. No one's going to be perfect. No one's going to be consistent fully. We're going to have off days, and I think that's fine. Yeah. You got to acknowledge that. We're human beings. You're going to do things that you feel like aren't up to your potential at times, and you just got to accept that, move on, be the best version of yourself tomorrow. That's the way I reckon you should live life. Try and capitalize on each day. Forget about the past. Just keep building on and becoming a better version of yourself every single day.
Cool. Now, a bit of practical advice. At our age, with our because we're both in school, so I think the audience too will probably be in school as well. We've got other conflicting priorities. How often should we go to the gym, and what things should we do to make it more efficient so we can kind of get in there, get your stuff done, and not waste too much time?
Look, it really depends how much time you have. Obviously, most cases, more times the better. 5 days a week ish. But I don't think I remember the last time I went 5 days a week, because I simply just don't have the time. I have cricketing commitments. I've got school commitments, unfortunately, that I still have to do. And obviously, my parents don't really enjoy it as well. I'll talk more about that later in the video about parents' expectations, but
we'll try to keep it to 25 minutes, I think.
Okay.
So,
Yep. But pretty much, I think it's quality over quantity, but you still want a bit of quantity. I'd say if you could go 2 to 3 times a week, that would be perfect. Yeah. I feel like if you do that for 2 to 3 years, you'll see remarkable results. As long as your sets, your volume, etc., it's all quality, you're training hard, you're doing it with purpose, and your sessions aren't just you and your mates talking the whole time, do one exercise and leave.
I know a lot of guys in our school especially, and he always tells me about this, but we'll see the big group coming into Sizak, hop around the bench press, do a set each, and then call it quits. And that's not effective for gains. I mean, it's fun, and you could argue, but you just said before that you should do what's fun, not what's effective, but you guys know, right? You can't do a set and expect to get bigger just from one set.
I think some people have the purpose of getting bigger. I know a lot of people that do work out in groups, but they are big guys because they work out hard, because they all have the purpose of getting stuff done. But then there's obviously other guys that just go in there, don't really put in the work and leave.
Yeah.
And mess around. So I think you just got to find the fine line in between both, where you can have fun but you can still get the work done.
Yeah, awesome. Now, we talked about this before, but we'll come back in more detail. It's like a bit of a raw topic, but body dysmorphia, has that affected you to a large degree? And if you had any advice for someone who, we'll start with this here. Let's say there's someone listening who they want to start going to the gym. They look at gym content, but every gym influencer is already jacked. They're already hot, and you feel like, oh, but I'm kind of fat, I'm kind of skinny. I don't look like these guys. And then because of that, because of not already being in shape, you feel discouraged to go to the gym. Have you got any advice for those people? And then after that, touch on like your experience with dysmorphia and like other people you've seen struggle with that.
I'll talk about my experience first.
Sure.
I think I've had both sides of the coin. Like, there's some days where I feel a bit skinnier than I used to be, and then I don't want to go to the gym because I know if I get a pump, it still won't be as big as I used to be. So I'll feel even smaller in that regards. Mm. But then there's also a stage where I look at myself or I look at others and I see that they're big, and it just drives me to want to look like that. So I think a bit of body dysmorphia is encouraged. I think to get stuff done, you have to be a little bit uncomfortable. If you're 100% satisfied with where you are in life, you're not going to progress. You're just going to be complacent. You're not going to get the work done. I think having a bit of body dysmorphia, not liking the way you look, that way you're actually going to progress. You're going to want to hit the gym. You're going to want to make some differences in your body. But I think it does get a bit unhealthy when it affects your mental health. You're being overly obsessive with yourself and the way you look, and you just don't think you look right, and you become sad, you become depressed with it. At that stage, I think it's just about accepting it for what it is. You're not going to be perfect. You don't have the best genetics. No one does. You're going to look different. You're just going to have to acknowledge that. This takes time. And that way, the way you can avoid obsessing over the end result, you might want to look like David Lade, for example. Well, that takes 10 years of work. You gotta have to break it down into sections. That's why I think mini goals is a really good thing.
Yeah, sure.
I think breaking it up over time periods, putting the process in place. Okay, I'm gonna gym 3 times a week, and I'm gonna do this for 3 months. By then, I wanna add, 5-10 kilos on my bench. Something that's actually achievable, but still something that you have to work quite hard towards. That is the best way of going about it, because when you achieve that, it is very satisfying. It's very good.
I think for anyone with like even gym, studying, anything in particular, like I think no matter how hard you work, there's always gonna be, someone there's always a bigger fish, right? But I'd say the optimal version of you, like I guarantee for like anyone hearing this, we can't even imagine the optimal version of ourselves. So that's with our genetics, our upbringing, all our factors. Even then, I think your personal potential is so much higher than you think. And if anyone says, oh, but I haven't got the best, I'm not 6'4", I'm not, like a certain height or a certain build or a certain genetics or whatever. It's true, you're not. But the optimal version of you would be so successful that you can't even think of that. You can't even imagine that, I'd say. And I think you could argue with me and say, oh no, you're lying. Like if I'm 4'4", I'm cooked. Maybe if you're 4'4", you probably are cooked. But for anyone in particular, I'd say, is there actually a point in thinking that you can't achieve a certain thing? Because look, I can't play in the NBA probably, right? But if I had basketball dreams, it's not going to be optimal for me to tell myself there's no way I can play NBA, right? Because then I'm not going to push myself hard. And this applies to you going to the gym, even me, in the gym. Whereas you may look at some guy and think there's no way humanly possible I could achieve this guy's physique. And it's probably true, but it is humanly possible for you to achieve your peak physique. And your peak physique, if I could snap my fingers and give me my peak physique, I'd do it easily. I'd pay $100,000 to do it. Why? Because it's good and it's achievable as well. So for anyone else, don't compare your genetics and your potential in that way to other people, but just try and think of yourself as I think for 99% of people, the ideal version of yourself is way higher than you even can imagine. So I guess that's a healthy way of coping and saying, like, oh, okay, I'm not 6'1", so I'm not like...
Control what you can control.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah, I think if you control what you can control, don't, like, height you can't control. You might be blessed with genetics, you might not. Or get wider, get in the gym, get a better physique. There's going to be guys that are 6'4", but don't get in the gym. They're fat, they're skinny, whatever. They don't work hard. You can outwork them and become more attractive than them. Why? Because you controlled what you can control.
100%.
I guarantee you, if you control what you can control, you will be the best version of yourself and you'll be one of the top 1% people on the earth.
Yeah.
If you do what you can to become the best version of yourself.
Yeah. 100%.
Everyone has potential.
That's really good advice, yeah. And I think probably the most important takeaway here, I guess, is not arguing and saying, oh, but my potential isn't good. But really, like, literally gaslight yourself into believing that regardless of your personal situation or like anything in particular, like, your own highest potential is top 1% of people in the world. So with that, imagine my audience, right? So guys kind of like heading into the gym for the first time. If you have some closing words for them, like just a bit of like final advice, final encouragement, what would you say to them?
I'd say get it done.
Yeah.
I think your future self will thank you for it. Don't overthink it. Don't think what other people are going to say. Don't even think about others, in all honesty. Think, okay, if I make this decision to go into the gym, this could be a turning point. Like, it's been a turning point for me. It's been a turning point for Dinuga.
100%. My confidence especially has increased. Like, even though I haven't made that much progress in the gym, like I've barely gone, I've been pretty inconsistent, but I was kind of consistent in year 10, and like, I can't tell too many stories yet, but the confidence I gained from the gym has led to so many other opportunities in my life, which weren't from my physique itself, but from the confidence that I gained from improving myself in general. To anyone else, I guarantee you on everything, my grades in school, my performance in school has been increased by the fact that I went to the gym in year 10, because that showed me if there's something that I'm not that good at, there is always a way to improve, and that becoming better as a person, like, because you have to admit, you as a person, you are your physique, you are your appearance. Improving your physical appearance shows you, it's a symbol that you can achieve a lot more than what you think, because now you're a new person, and being a better person, you can just do more things. So that's really good advice.
Yeah.
And thing I want to add, I think, is your brain, it's like always kind of like trying to trick you in a way and tell you, like, I'm sure you could be hearing this video and you could be thinking, you know, he says, like, Ishaan said you should go to the gym, you know, I say that, but then on the other hand, like, you know, you could get injured. You could try and like make these odds, right? But your brain is trying to convince you to not go to the gym if you'd have that sort of brain. So my best advice, before you start thinking, should I go or should I not go, just go for a week and then make the choice. Go for a week. Even you can get like a free trial, I think, you know. I think for most gyms you can get like a free trial. Do the free trial, and then after that, ask yourself, okay, do I still want to go? And odds are, you probably will. So,
and if you're too young to go to the gym, etc., always start off with even home workouts. That's the way I started. I got a 6-pack before I even hit the gym, because I was doing these like 10-minute ab workouts at home. People tell you they don't work, trust me, they do. Well, you have to be low enough body fat, but of course, my point is just do some form of physical activity. Get into a routine, and then just progressively increase your load, like go to the gym, maybe do some more cardio, just change things up, and challenge yourself. Put yourself in confronting environments. That's how you're gonna improve.
So true. This is about 30 minutes of content now, so I hope you watched all the stuff to the end. If you did like it, like the video, subscribe. Ishaan, how can we find your personal Instagram and stuff like that? How can we chat to you?
So ish_Khan.
I'll put it in the
on
description.
Instagram, and anabolic Ishik on TikTok.
Yeah,
I'll be making
I'll put
some more
those in
content
there.
there, some tips, some videos. It's some good resources if you want to get into the gym, so I'd recommend that.
Check it out. Comments or top comment or description, it would be there. And make sure you do the things we say we do. Like, do the things we told you to do. And yeah, thanks guys.
Sounds good. See you.